Imagine having the ability to not just view your data, but to interact with it, to drill down into the metrics that matter most, and to generate customized reports that resonate with your business objectives. Eureka transcends traditional BI by offering pre-built content that's meticulously designed for InfoSightline ERP. This ready-to-use content significantly shortens time to value, enabling businesses to instantly benefit from advanced analytics without the lead time typically associated with custom BI solutions. Users can swiftly navigate through intuitive dashboards, explore detailed reports, and make data-driven decisions with confidence, all thanks to pre-configured insights with Eureka. Eureka has unparalleled connectivity, not just to InfoSightline ERP, but to an expansive ecosystem of business applications, including CRM, payroll, e-commerce, and more. This comprehensive approach ensures that businesses can leverage a holistic view of their operations, enhancing decision-making and strategic planning across the board. Step into this new era of business intelligence with Eureka and transform your Sightline data into your most valuable asset.
Two players really emerged from the pack and went to the top right. Okay, so those were Tableau and Microsoft. And as you can see there with the red arrows, 2016 shows their position in red and then 2017 in blue. And really everybody was in the pack at the time, one might argue, until 2017, where Tableau and Microsoft clearly moved ahead of the competition. And where are we today? Well, I think one might argue Salesforce and Microsoft are clearly still at the top. And you say, well, why say Salesforce? Salesforce bought Tableau in 2019 to get instant market position. And that's what Salesforce do, and why not? But what's happened since then is Microsoft have continued to move to the right and to the top. And like many systems that are bought by large ERP vendors, Tableau has started to move down and left. So it's starting to come back into the pack, if you like, leaving Microsoft as today, in 2023 at least, the clear leader in Power BI. So that's the reason, nothing special other than we believe this is the industry leader. And we believe that's the platform that we should build this tool on to help Sightline customers like yourselves. And what is that tool? It has a name. It's called Microsoft Power BI. And it is the engine behind Eureka, of course. Another reason that this really is probably, in our view, going to become dominant, for those who remember maybe, back in the 80s and 90s, I certainly do, there were alternatives to Office as well. I remember things like Lotus 123, WordPerfect, SuperCalc. I probably ran out of names there, but you might all remember those as well. Microsoft weren't the first to the game, but they now, within reason for the business community, they almost are everything to the Office environment now with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, every icon on that list, really. You might have a Google strategy in your business, of course, and some do, but certainly the majority of business owners have really gone towards the Microsoft platform. It's our belief that business intelligence will go in the same direction. And when you look at the red square on there, the user interface is familiar to you. Nothing new to learn. The ribbon across the top is the same. Everything is the same. So this isn't really a big stretch for all of your people to learn the interface, to navigate the interface. Microsoft Power BI is built into what is today called Microsoft 365. It has been renamed from Office 365, of course. So another reason for all of your users to find something that's very palatable, very familiar for them, is another reason we chose Microsoft Power BI. So when we look at Eureka, the rather fun opening scribe you saw there talked about one of the differentiators here. And when you come into business intelligence projects, they are very challenging. I've been through them in a past life, They typically start from the ground up. They're very difficult to implement. They don't deploy particularly well. And if you do manage to have a good deployment, you're typically talking about maybe minimum 12, 24 months, as much as 36 months sometimes to implement a good business intelligence strategy and to move it all across your business. So one of the key differentiators here that we're offering with Eureka is out of the box content for these business areas. So as you can see, there are 9 presently. This will probably expand over time. But we feel this is in effect the content packs that most manufacturing and service companies will need. From the top and reading across, we've got sales, procurement, and inventory. Across the middle there, finance, production, and projects. And then down the bottom, quality, service, and rental. So these come out of the box. There are over 100 dashboards as well behind each of those business areas. And the idea here is to get you started, to offer you instant gratification, instant answers, instant insights into your business. This doesn't take months and years. We're talking about days. And you will then be able to bring the team in, the decision makers, the heads of departments, maybe lower level people as well. This could be at middle management, lower management, clerical even. And what this does, it's literally a plug and play solution. So we plug into Sightline. We know Sightline very well, of course. We know the tables, we know the data. We know what most of these heads of departments are looking for. And this content has already been built by Sightline experts. So what happens from there is you get immediate, right at the bottom of the slide there, we're saying, hey, this is immediate time to value. Now, will this be the solution that you ultimately stick with over the years? I highly doubt that. The idea is to bring instant visualization to the data so that you can then leverage that and move on from there. So we're shortcutting the time to value. Instead of building it from scratch, bringing big groups of people together in boardrooms and conference rooms and saying holistic things like, hey, we've got a business intelligence idea. We have a new strategy. We're going to leverage this. We're going to visualize that. This really is put this up on the wall, bring the salespeople in, show them the 4 or 5 dashboards with 20 or 30 visualizations on there. They immediately see where we're going, what the idea is, and now the platform will then be ready to be personalized, of course. Okay, I've got 30 dashboards provided by Eureka for sales. Great start, but this isn't quite what I measure in my business. Let's tweak this one. Let's delete that one. Let's go and design our own to fill a gap that isn't covered by Eureka today. This is really the clear differentiator, I believe, on what we're going to offer out of the box with Eureka. How do we do it? Well, it's this pump, right? So what we know with Sightline, and this is deliberately not a Sightline table. I doubt any of you recognize it, or I hope you don't. This is meant to represent a typical Sightline table. So if we take a customer or an invoice table or some table like that within our ERP system, they're incredibly deep, they're incredibly rich, and they're full of information. So we don't want the majority of that information. So we will copy the tables from Sightline into Microsoft Azure in their entirety, of course. So it's in effect a complete copy of your Sightline data. But we don't need to push that to our business intelligence tool. It would get bogged down. It would be too slow. So if I wanted to analyze maybe the sales of my chemicals over a period of time, I might need the name of the product I want to analyze. I might need the unit of measure, and maybe I need to know the price. Just examples of, maybe 200 fields in a table that I need 3 from, and I leave the other 197 fields behind. And that's how we've designed all of the dashboards. What does that mean? Well, it means incredible speed. We don't want to put 200 fields into a business intelligence tool. And that's what would happen if you took Microsoft Power BI today and you dropped it onto your Sightline environment. it would actually go and try and digest all 200 columns, all 200 fields in the table. And we've already made those decisions and said, no, 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 we don't need that. That would be too slow. If you have 10 years of history, 20 years, 30 years for some of you on the call, and then you also try and pull in 200 fields, well, the thing will probably grind to a halt very quickly. So we've already done that thinking for you. We've already extracted the data we need to create all of these dashboards. So we only take 3 of the potentially hundreds of fields, and we push those to the BI tool. And that's already done for you. That's the message. What I have now, before the demonstration, is just a few screens. They're just examples, right? You'll see the real system soon. Pontus will be joining, and he will show you the system being used. But the idea is to show you just a few screens, how it's been designed. And the real, what we're talking about here is a couple of staples. So the first thing is some filtering across the top. And I'm moving my cursor here across this dark blue bar at the top. And those are filters that come out of the box when you buy Eureka. And they're each designed for each business area. So the sales filters will be different to the inventory filters, will be different to the financial filters, and so on. So the filters are not steady. They're actually context sensitive, depending on which business area you're in, of course. So I'm in sales here, and I've got filters, for example, for sites, if I'm a multi-site environment, a customer, a warehouse, if you're multi-branch, for example, inside a single site, a product code, or a financial period. Some people like to look at their sales information by financial periods. Maybe I'm on a 4-4-5 scenario where I'm not following calendar months. So that could be crucial for some people to use financial periods as well. Or if you just want a date picker, I just want last week, I just want yesterday, I want Q1, I want the half year. Then we just have a very simple date picker here where you would go and pick any date you wish, of course. Down the left, this is another steady KPI pane, we call it. This doesn't change. So the idea is to have up to 5 KPIs in your area, and those don't change. So as I move from screen to screen, and I think there are 3, there might be 4 of these for sales, this pane on the left will stay static. The idea being that I have 5 KPIs, and those, I think many of you will share my view. You shouldn't have too many KPIs, of course, because they are, the first letter there is key. How many KPIs can I have in the sales area? We've limited that to 5. The maximum you can fit on there is 5, and that pane on the left will stay static. So when I look down here, I do see my ship to book ratio, invoice to book ratio, profit margins, open to invoice, book to cancel. There are people canceling on me quicker than I can take new. So I decided, and this isn't the way you have to run the system, of course, but I decided that these are the 5 KPIs that I'm interested in sales. They also actually compare themselves to a period in the past. And we set all that up for you. Was it yesterday? Was it last week? Was it last month? Was it last quarter? Was it last year? So when you see these colors below with triangles, they're telling you what the current situation is in blue versus what the period was and what your percentage is that's either grown or increased as well. So this is very visual. The KPI pane on the left, and as I say, that stays static. The visuals themselves, if you've seen Power BI, there are hundreds and hundreds of visuals. These are just 4 of them. We've kept it with a very clean background, clean colors, blues, lots of white space, light borders around it. It feels very airy and very light. And as you can see on here, we've just got a couple of examples. You don't need to really focus on what they tell you. It's more about the openness and the airiness of the user interface. We think it's not overwhelming, which a lot of these things can be. We have a maximum of 5 dashboards per canvas, and you see 4 on here, right? So there's 2 on the left, and then there's a long in the middle, and there's another long one on the right. A couple of more examples here, which has the maximum of 5. And what we see here is this is, again, it's a sales, and it's all around shipments. So my graphs are different types of graphs. So I see upper and lower limits here. Up on the right, this is another visual. I also see 23 sales versus 24 sales, just giving you graphics on how powerful the graphic might be. Clearly, you'll see when Pontus comes on board, you can drill into any of these, and they're all sensitive around each other. So if I drew into, a certain period, for example, and I drilled down, all of the graphics would move, and they'd all be in context with the drill down as well. And you'll see that in Pontus's demo, of course. One more here, which is service orders. For service businesses, some different graphics here. We're counting things. This is one inside of another, right? So this is like a stacked bar chart, if you like. I've got retail, distribution, warehousing, and then I've got the number of priorities I've had, how many high service orders, how many lows, how many mediums, and how many urgents, for example. Over here, this is the size of the block represents the size of the service orders I've had and which salesmen have been selling the service work, GIB, BGS, JAR. These are all salespeople within Sightline that many of you might recognize, of course. One more, my last one, before you probably get a little tired of looking at PowerPoints. But this is also another way of looking at the data. So when you look at any of those earlier, you'll see there's this icon at the right-hand side, and all, maybe not all, I could be wrong there, but many of the dashboards have a slider pane over here on the right-hand side, which will take the data and then present it in a graphical format so they can look at this geographically. So on the right-hand side here, this is again based on service orders, and this is service order incidents, of course. And I can see the incidents I've had and where they are. Now, this is not only giving me, many of you will have seen heat maps before, I would imagine. This on the right is a heat map, so the size of the circle will give you an idea of how many incidents you've had in a certain geolocation, of course. But the other thing on here as well is it's telling me by salesperson as well. So I can see here, if I look at this region here, which is my biggest region, I've also got maybe 8, 9, 10 salespeople involved in those incidents as well, versus this circle here, I've only got 2 salespeople. So there's a lot of data, a lot of ways of analyzing this. We're visualizing using, the world's most favored tool here. These are not Eureka tools. These are Power BI tools. Really what Eureka's done is extracted the data, put it into Microsoft Azure for you, decided which tables you need, pulled the fields from the tables, and then created over 100 dashboards for you based on 9 business areas. Okay, but the tool itself is Microsoft Power BI. Next, we have the mobile. Many of you might not be sat at your desk, of course. You might be out there on smartphones, you might be on tablets. So all of this is available through mobile applications, whether you're on iOS or Android. And they look a little bit tough to see there on the left-hand side, of course, when I have it in portrait mode. One option is to move it to landscape mode, and I'll see it a lot better, of course, which is the second horizontal image. And then if it's still too small, even, I use classic things we all take for granted today, like pinch and zoom, use my fingers, come very close into the data and be able to drill into the data potentially as well. Don't forget, all of this is still active on a mobile device. So there's full mobile compatibility as well. You have no need to be tethered to the desk. Now, what comes with that is a new problem. You now have incredible insights to your data, incredible visualizations, a new problem, I would argue. So what we've done is we've coupled the Microsoft Power BI with another tool from the Microsoft Power Platform. And here's the problem that happens once you have a BI strategy, once you've embedded the BI strategy in your organization. Previously, you had perhaps poor reporting, you weren't aware of everything, you've shined a spotlight on something, and the problem changes for a while. Now you're a little overwhelmed with the data that you have available. So what we have with the tool called Power Automate from Microsoft is the ability to alert you to trends in the data and also send you information when a trigger happens. So that's what we're talking about in the sentences on the left, is sometimes it's overwhelming, and sometimes I'd like it to just tell me about something based on a trigger. Okay. And that's what Power Automate is. So Power Automate is, again, another tool. If you look on the left there, same Microsoft toolset, same Microsoft user experience. And this is, again, from the toolset of Microsoft 365. It's the second of the red blocks on there. We've already spent time talking about Power BI. We're now talking about another tool in the same framework, in the same technology stack, if you like, called Power Automate. So if we match Power Automate with Eureka, now we can get some very cool things to happen. So now I'm a little overwhelmed. I've got a lot of dashboards, and they're great, but maybe it's a little too much for me. Well, what might be nice is that if I could create triggers inside of all this data. Okay, and that's really what we're talking about now, is communicating with you, right? So that's what the visual is on the right here. I have my laptop, I have my desktop, I have my phone, whatever it is, but now I need it to tell me about something. I need an insight. I need the system to be clever enough to say, hey, don't just go to these dashboards and look at them again. Why don't you send me an email and tell me about something that you want to bring to my attention? Okay, and that's really what Power Automate is. It's looking at your data and creating alerts and telling you about things that you might want to take action on. And really, these are just some examples here that might make an impact when you're looking at your data. Instead of going to the dashboard, doing the same old, we're saying, well, what might that trigger be? And we've just put a few examples here. There are 5 of hundreds, if not thousands, of potential triggers, of course. One could be some threshold, could be an employee's performance, it could be my technicians, it could be a piece of equipment, but something's below the performance threshold that I'd like. Employees, there are many employee triggers we'd like to have around utilization and things like this. The very common one, the next one down there, is my sales intake this week, this month is below what I expected. Inventory, we talk about that a lot in ERP. Maybe certain inventory items are below where they should be. Let's get after it. Let's get on it. Or maybe I just want to look at all of my data. It is too overwhelming to look at all of that data. And maybe I'd like somebody to say, hey, you know what, the West Coast region is suffering. So I'd like to know when the West Coast becomes lower than X. Okay, these are just 5 examples. We could have put 55 on there. But this is really triggers, and many of us are used to triggers in our ERP systems. This is a different type of trigger. This is saying, hey, I've pushed all the data to my BI tool, and I'd like the system to help me find alerts and tell me about things in that data so I don't have to go looking every time. That's what Power Automate is, and we dropped that on the top of this as well. We have an example here of an email of how this might work. So, we have our WOW report, which is weekly sales, basically week over week. And we decided that we needed to email somebody and tell them all about it and bring something to their attention. So on the right-hand side, this is a potential presentation of this. So I could attach the visualization on the left to this email. Okay, which we've seen many of. Then I could attach and embed within the email, which you see at the bottom there, is a table. Maybe I'm a table guy, maybe I don't like these fancy circles and scattergrams, and there are many. There are hundreds of pretty visualizations. But, some of us just like tabular information, and that's still okay, even in 2024 as well. So these are just examples of how I could be emailed. And what happens is all of these links are live, right? They're not dead on arrival like many reports, like many PDFs. If I click into any of these, it will take me back into Eureka, back into the dashboard for me to drill further, analyze more, and so on. So that's just one example of an email. I can also download it as well. So if I wanted to, I could download this to a PDF. I could download it and put it into a PowerPoint, because this is all Microsoft, by the way, guys, right? So that's really one of the pictures, is all of this is totally embedded with the Microsoft Office tools, PowerPoint, Word, Excel. So these can be downloaded as well and integrated to all of your Office products as well. Same thing. This is just somebody who just likes tables, right? This is okay as well. This time I'm leaving the visual behind. I'm leaving that powerful visualization that we saw on the first one. And this is just the same thing, but now you know what? I know my audience is an audience who doesn't like to see the visuals. They just want to see data. So same thing, different presentation, but it was triggered. Now that trigger might be an exception. This person has performance has fallen below. The sales orders received have fallen below. There could be many triggers, but then it might also just be timely. Maybe I'm just out of the office and I like the sales sending to me every day at 8 a.m. So the triggers could be exceptions. I'm looking for alerts and things going wrong or things going right as well, of course. We always talk about the negative here, but it could be positive. But maybe it's none of those things. And it's just, hey, you know what? I'd like this data emailing to me at intervals. Okay, and that's perhaps what this example is as well. And the last one is, just some regional analysis of, where we are, what week we were in, how it shipped, whether it was above or below a week before. I'm just giving you examples of how you might use Power Automate to look at this incredible amount of data that you've just become invested in. You've just spent quite the time creating, and now I want to find something to be brought to my attention. So it's a push, whereas the dashboard and the Eureka tool is a pull, right? It's me going into it, looking at the data, drilling into the data, finding the data I want. This is very much the opposite. This is looking for trends, problems, and alerts and pushing it to me in the form of an email. Okay. And that's really the end of the PowerPoint. I wonder if we could hand over to Pontus now, who I think is going to jump in, take the screen, and show this thing in real life, dancing around and drilling in and so on and so forth. So Pontus, are you there?
I am here. Do you hear me okay?
We can hear you okay. If you take the screen, and we'll enjoy your next section.
Okay, I show myself on the video here, and then I go away from video here. But my name is Pontus Ringblom. I've been working with Sightline for many years, 20, 30 years, and done a lot of BI implementation over the past on-prem and cloud and so on. So here we're going to show Eureka. So I'm going to turn my video off here. And I assume you can see the screen, Gary, right?
Yes, indeed.
Sure. Oh, good. Okay, so Eureka, it's sitting in, like Gary said, in Office 365. So when you have Office 365, you have your icon up in the left corner. You select Power BI. Within Power BI, there's an app that we're going to select that gets you to the Eureka workspace. And you get to this page here, which is the landing page, the main page of Eureka. And what you have on Eureka, and again, Gary gone through a lot of the screens here, but I can just give you the kind of the live feed or the screen here, but I want to highlight some things. But on the left side, you have your navigation panel, okay? And then you have a main page here that once we select something, it's going to go away. We have on the right side, there's a filter pane. This is standard Power BI features that we're using here. And I'm sure people on this call, I bet half of you, if not more, using Power BI in some shape or form. So some of this stuff may not be news to you, but what we have done is to put together, like Gary said, a kind of a suite of dashboards and the connection back to Sightline via Hub data. So all of the data you see here on this demo is actually stored in Azure, replicated through Hub data from a Sightline customer or a demo system. So again, the left side, again, is the navigation panel. So I'm just going to click on sales. And these are the different areas here, like the Gary mentioned. In this company, we don't have, or this demo, we don't have the projects. But depending on the customer, you can, if you only need sales, you would have somewhat modular how you can configure this, and quality and service may not be applicable, so you remove those entries. Within this, if I click on sales then, I see some dashboards. And again, customers may have different dashboards. So in sales, we developed quite a few different dashboards, but these are just some sample dashboards for a typical manufacturing company. But other companies, if you're a service company or you're views of seeing the data, right? So this particular dashboard here show open orders backlog, right? As I go through the different screens, I just click on a different. Same. You know, we trying to make it consistent so we don't have one dashboard looks different than the other one. And this is the thing that was one of our goals when we designed Eureka, that you know, I've seen many dashboards. A lot of customer of ours have done dashboard looking great. However, you don't get that consistent look. It's easy to do one dashboard here and there. So we spend a lot of time to the aesthetics, the look and feel, and how you navigate around these dashboards. It's the same of how it looks. So I have a top bar here. We can do some jumps to different screens. You can do something called clear filter, which is this section here when you select the different options. Always consistent. And again, what Gary mentioned about the KPI on the left side and visuals. So consistent look across the application, okay? So this particular one, again, open orders, just to give you some, what are we looking here? Again, you know, visuals, you can visualize data a lot of different ways, but here you have a backlog of $665,000 open. In June you have 105, and in May you have 105,000, and in June you have open to ship 135. I click on this thing, you can get into the data, so you can drill into the data. So we do feed a lot of the data into the Power BI. Some are consolidated depending on the detail you want to see, because the more data you have in analytics, the slower it gets in a way. So if a customer don't want to see too much detail, we can consolidate data. But the orders, obviously, areas we will have it down to the detail level. So here you can see basically the open orders from within that area. You can, you know, this is standard Power BI features. You can export it to a file from here on. So you can drill into all of these things. And we have other screens too. We can drill down to a second dashboard underneath. Again, Power BI is unlimited what you can do. It's a lot of features and a lot of areas you can expand on. So what else do we have here? This is demonstrating against our toggle. So what we have on a lot of these screens is we have a toggle that can toggle between alternate screens on one page. In this case, it toggles between a screen to show the detail, and then that geographical area where my open backlog, where do I have my open orders, you know, in the country. This company, this sample data we have here is a domestic company that ships in America. So this is where the business is. It seems like with, again, graph of here, California is the most in Minnesota. That's kind of where the area where they have most open orders. Shipment, I'm just going to give you some other slide, very similar. It just gives you a graph. Again, each customer may have a different look, different needs. Again, Power BI, you can create any dashboard. I want to mention what we have behind these dashboards is we have, if you're familiar with, if you use something like Cognos in the past, they call it catalogs. If you have SQL guys out there, there's something called views. That's where we use a lot of these things. So we already have prepped a lot of these areas. So we have data replicated again from Sightline into regular data tables that Sightline used to have. If you have any on-prem customers on here, they've gone to cloud or on-prem customers, but those are incoming into regular tables, order lines tables. But we have a lot of these data views that is used in a lot of these, dashboards. So again, behind this thing, there's a lot of other fields. So if a customer wants to change this to a different look, of different visualization, it's very easy. Power BI comes with Power BI desktop tool, which is the design. So after you can actually download this thing here, getting out to a desktop, and then change your layout, and then save it up to the cloud. So again, very easy to change the visuals. So we already have a lot of the data fed into these different dashboards. So to change the look or adding different fields, to kind of look at it differently. Each customer will have different needs. So that was one of the kind of requirement as we designed the software to make sure it's flexible, to basically allow end customers or us ourselves to help our customer very quickly to change the way it looks, because one look doesn't fit all, right? Just visualizing, what can I do here more? Just click on another one, booking, same look too. This is like incoming orders, monthly buckets. Again, they can drill down to. You can click on different things, and this is standard Power BI. This is my salesman. This is my product category, product code, what they done, the top product codes they booked over the year. Period on top, you can filter on this, you can do it. Period again is our accounting fiscal period. So companies out there may have different accounting periods. So we do link to Sightline's accounting period and creating that dynamic fiscal year with accounting period. So if you have a 445 accounting period, it's dynamically created. We still support based on a date. So if you don't want to look at it by period, you can also then do a specific date range here. So you can look at, say, last week or whatever. We support that too on most of these screens. So shipment would be shipment date, booking activity dates. Here's just a revenue screen, looking very similar to the booking. So these are just some examples what we have. We have other dashboards we done here. I don't have on this thing. That's like a higher overview that gets you into sales, and it gives you a landing page. So instead of clicking on these 4 different things, we have one landing page that gives you everything. So if somebody in the sales, manager, VP sales for something, they don't want to look at the detail, they can just go to that landing page and get the kind of a dashboard overview. We're also talking about having a high-level executive view that can give everything from various areas, the KPIs from various areas. So again, a lot of these modules you can build out, but that's kind of what we see from our customers right now. They're asking some of those, kind of extra reports or dashboarding, kind of bring it into one place so they can drill into the detail. I'm going to go down to procurement here. Again, procurement is open orders, open POs. Just to give you an example here, just gives you kind of open orders, what's open for purchase orders, when they expect it to receive. So you can see here, quickly see there's some past dues out there. I can click on these things and I can see here, in the bottom, kind of what the line items. So I can click on sorting these features here, something from $10,000 PO that was due in April that has not yet been received. You can even click on back in January very quickly. So again, that's the thing with Power BI or PI overall, is you can find that needle in the haystack of exceptions, right? To drill into the data. Received, again, just what was received in. And again, this is just sample dashboarding again that some people like to see, but these are standard, typical, most customers probably would like to see. Inventory. We have some inventory reports here, just strictly just evaluation of inventory, how much we have in inventory by product code. So this particular section is, they have something for warehouses in hardware kits. They have quite a bit of dollars. You can click on that. Change. And this is kind of a tricky in Sightline. There's no, Sightline doesn't store the data, snapshotting inventory. But we have some creative way of looking at using material transactions to kind of put together changes in various product codes and areas to kind of back into your inventory snapshot and change. So this one you see, by monthly bucket, what changed by, this is by purchased or manufactured by different categories. And, this negative meaning that we reduced inventory, or positive, we increased that in that category. And this is just kind of a graphing, changed graphics in inventory over time. The areas here of finance, we have production. I'm not going to get into, but they're very simple, very similar kind of look and feel. We can click on a couple of these areas to show you, I guess. But it's very similar look and feel, and just different data in different areas. Shortages for production. Let's go through quickly here. I'm not going to get in. I'm not sure 11:49, so I'm going to wrap it up here so we can see if we have any questions. Quality pages. Again, you can see the visuals here, using a lot of different type of visuals. And what do we have more here? These are the ones visuals for. So again, Power BI have a lot of different visuals. So some are very complicated to understand, some are very easy, but some are very powerful. So it's just a fine line of deciding what kind of visuals you're going to use in Power BI. And I'm sure on this call we have users that have used this before and probably run into the same issues. The key thing is, how do we visualize data the right way? That's the key thing really with Power BI. Service orders, again, showing here where the service orders are located. Anyone doing service here on the call, this is a way of just visualizing service orders, where they are, where they're located. So that's kind of the end of this. So I don't know. This is it. I think I'm going to open up, Gary, for questions if they have any specifics. But this is basically Eureka. If anyone is interested, I'm sure we can do one-on-one demo for specific areas. But this is Eureka, again, located in Azure, feeding data through Hub Data, replicated from Sightline, real time, within a minute or two, any kind of changes you do. Again, Power BI is not real time. You could set up Power BI real time, as well as typically it's more of a refresh, which is up to, you can schedule that in Power BI once a day, a couple of times a day. Depending on your Power BI plan, you can refresh it more than others. But that's really it, Gary. I think, I'm not sure if anything I missed here, Gary, that you want me to highlight on, but that's kind of an overview of the product and show you how Eureka looks like.
No, that's good, Pontus. There are several questions in the chat coming from Keith, Chris, Keith again. Keith.
Okay. I see it.
I see them. I mean, they're all there, by the way. You're talking about margin, material cost, labor cost, overhead cost. I think we might have even seen those. Then factory track job orders, late orders. What I would suggest, gentlemen, I think everybody's a gentleman, is, given we've only got 9 minutes left and I'd like to wrap this up before we go over time, maybe I wonder if we could arrange private sessions with you and drive into all of these questions, so I can take the last 5 minutes and close down the session. But thank you for the questions. I believe they're all covered, but if they're not, it's really about working with us. So what I wanted to close with today is to just take the screen back, if I could, a little bit there, Pontus, and close out today. So thank you for the questions, which were very specific around production and finance mostly. So let me close this out if I can, and please all ask your questions, and please keep this type of thing going as well. But we would like to meet with you one-on-one to run these sessions with you. So let's swap that around. What did we talk about today then? Well, we talked about really the tool set, right? So this, we're not hiding behind this. We're proud of it. We chose what we believe is the clear leader, and will continue to be, and that gap will grow. Everybody else will probably move into the pack, and Microsoft Power BI will continue to move to the right. So we're proud of the fact we partnered. We've also become a Microsoft certified partner as well. If you do your own research, you'll find also Microsoft Power BI over the stretch of your BI strategy is the lowest total cost of ownership as well versus the competition. This is a plug and play solution. And this is the beginning of the journey, I would say to you. Typically, would expect you to go live in under 5 days. So, we're talking about just having access to your data, be it in the cloud or on-premise, connecting the two systems through Hub Data, through Hub Core. And that data will drive itself into the Power BI tool, depending on how much data you have. It might take 8 hours, it might take 24 hours. It really depends how much data you have, of course. But a fair estimate is that you should be able to be seeing your data populating these out-of-the-box KPIs, canvases, and dashboards in under 5 days. And that's what I think is very special. There are 9 business areas that are covered out of the box with the content pack. And inside of those 9 business areas, there are over 100 dashboards. Skills are plentiful. Okay, so when you're looking at BI tools, you have to look at the proprietary nature of that BI tool. How many people are available in the marketplace for me to either go and recruit, to work with, to contract with? And this is another real positive of choosing Microsoft Power BI. The skills are plentiful and they're all over the world. Okay, so you're not going to find it difficult to find resource, whether it's inside your company today or whether you go outside of your company, the resources are everywhere. It's a very familiar interface. You know, Pontus was showing it in real life. I put it on a couple of my slides. It's all Office 365. It's not a new system for you to learn. It's not a new system for your teams to learn either. It's a very seamless implementation. It's all available on the desktop and the mobile, no matter where you are in the world, on the beach, in a hotel, traveling. You can always get access to this data. And really what we're saying as well is we'd like to offer you an end-to-end solution. Okay. You know, we are already and have been for many years a Infor partner, certified partner, and we're also a Microsoft partner. So if you look at two ends of this system, you know, Infor in the beginning, you know, where the data is today, where your transactional processing system is, and then at the end, you know, the Microsoft management, all of the Azure management, the server management, the data management, the security management, all the things that comes with your data being hosted in the cloud. And then finally, the Microsoft partner. We have people on our teams who are Azure experts. We have people who are Power BI experts. We have people who are Power Automate experts. We are a true certified Microsoft partner. You don't need to go and string a bunch of people together to make this vision come alive. We do the sightline migration. We handle the cloud data storage in Microsoft Azure. And because we handle everything inside our own team, that Power BI piece, you can recruit your team. You can work with anybody you wish as a contractor, or we'd be happy to provide those services and become your BI partner as well. Because the out-of-the-box solution only lasts so long, of course. It's great. You get 100 dashboards in 9 business areas. It's immediate. It's instant gratification, immediate time to value. But inevitably, we all know, once you've seen what's possible, you need to personalize it for your company, your people. And we'd be happy to help support you because we have all the tools on hand as well within our company as well. So that's the end of it. I'm afraid we did use all of your time, and we didn't get many chances to ask questions. So we are a little over time here. And well, no, we're probably coming up to the time. We've got 3 minutes left. So I'd like to leave the contact information up there, of course. You can go to our website and learn a lot more about this product, of course, and that's eurekapowerbi.com. Phone number, 3 emails there for you to all contact us and talk to us. Obviously, you'll have the recording if you were present today. We'd love to hear more from you. And several of the questions were detailed, and we'd love to get into those questions with you. And anybody else who didn't ask questions or maybe felt a little shy today. But I guess for the last 2 minutes, could we open it up to anybody who'd like to unmute themselves and ask any questions? Okay. Well, I'll take it that we answered all of your questions. Love to work with you individually. Please contact us, and we will love to reach out and do one-on-one sessions with you. We'll hand you back 2 minutes, not a lot, I'm afraid, and look forward to talking to you all again in the future. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.